Welcome to UpYourStack podcast. I'm Noah Burke, the host of the show. Every week we feature interviews and conversations with some of our favorite app developers who've either built their applications on HubSpot or have integrated with HubSpot to help you get the most out of your HubSpot tech stack. And today, several listeners, you've seen it before. We've had multiple guests on the show. We actually have two great guests on the show today joining me. We have Yaroslav and we also have Sergiy, and they're from Railsware. And Railsware develops products. We're actually going to be talking about a particular product that they develop. And I'm going to, rather than steal the thunder and just share all the information about the product, I'm going to let these two gentlemen introduce themselves and what this product does. So whoever wants to go first, feel free to take the mic.
Your answer. Okay, good. So hi folks, Railsware is the product company. So we build multiple products, but as you mentioned correctly, we would like to talk about Coupler because it's the most relevant here. We have a Coupler application on the marketplace and more than 1,500 people, not people, but businesses which are enjoying using it. Coupler is the tool for data analytics and automation. And it actually solves problem for the companies to become data-driven companies. So that's simple.
Start
Awesome.
seeing.
Well, that's something that everyone wants.
Yes, start seeing, open your eyes, build the eyes if you didn't have them before. This is the thing.
Yeah. Well, let's dive a little bit deeper into it. Everyone generally develops a product for a reason. Generally, it's because they're solving something themselves, or maybe they're solving a gap in the ecosystem. Talk to me a little bit more about what actually Coupler does for its users and how they're using the product.
Let me actually tell you a quick story how the coupler came to be. It was the middle of the night. We were recalculating our revenue because we were calculating bonuses for all our team. And then we discovered a problem that the revenue on our CRM system that we send invoices from compared to the revenue where you multiply hours by rate differs by 5% of a yearly annual revenue, which was a big deal. It was 150K back then,
Yes.
we were a much smaller company. And that basically shocked me. Mistake was quickly found. It was Excel. Someone added the row, but forgot to include it in the sum formula. And then I think this trick alone costed all companies around the world trillions of dollars, most likely, or their life, the company life, right? Sometimes company bankrupt because of the improper sum. At that time, we decided and understood that there's no way that a human being should be a part of this equation. The only thing that is expressing the equation, there should be another mechanism that is rechecking this, that the revenue actually equals to hours multiplied by rate. After that, we went a bit crazy, and then we probably did about 5 to 700 that cover a huge amount of aspects of everything, right? SEO, marketing, sales, people, recruiting, product metrics, engineering, P&L, of course. And we went far from there. And this is how Coupler was born. The Coupler was born as a bash script back at that night, which extracted the data and compared them in a Google spreadsheet, of course. But it was done specifically in different things. This is the philosophy that is embedded into Coupler. And this is how it came to be in a HubSpot element. And Sergiy will tell more about it.
Well, probably before moving into that, from the very beginning, our vision on Coupler was to build a modular system. So initially, it was just a data transfer tool, which took your data from, let's say, HubSpot and bring it to spreadsheets, and then you do whatever you want, building some filters on top of that. Any kind of transformation you can apply with that instrument. But then, of course, we had the understanding that it's not enough. Some people may not work with Excel proficiently. So we've started to build dashboards and then templates for some very common use cases that companies really need. And so what I can say right now, there are a few popular dashboards for HubSpot that are used heavily. And those are customer acquisition dashboards, which you can find right there on Coupler page, which takes the data actually and help you to understand what is the final, like how do you convert your leads, like from signing up, whatever, from different stages into the purchase. We use HubSpot ourselves and we use Coupler inside. We are big fans of this concept of eat our own dog food. And yeah, so sales, customer success teams are active users of HubSpot. They take the data from HubSpot, like it's mostly information about customers. merge it with data from product use, like how features are used. And they use this combination of different factors to understand who are the potential users who will be able to purchase the product. What is the biggest probability? Who are the most probable?
So,
Mhm.
so when you were thinking about this particular product, you were solving it for the initial use case of the numbers that you were reporting on were different than the numbers that you were pulling on the system, and ultimately in the end, that ended up being user error. It sounds like inside the spreadsheets, and you say there has to be a better way for that content or for that to work, and hence Coupler came to an existence. But it sounds like you found a lot of different use cases for Coupler for people to do a better job actually reporting on this information outside of a system like HubSpot. And are you seeing traction of your growth around marketing leaders, ops leaders, sales leaders, customer service, all the above?
So in addition to that, so your data is across multiple SaaS apps. There's no way someone will come up with the ultimate SaaS app, or ultimate app, right? That will make it that it works across all the domains, all the functions, and all the factors. People come up with new apps with new usage of AI in their apps. What we do is extract data from all those apps, and you can combine them. We give you an ability to combine and enrich the data, join the data together, transform the data. I'm pretty much sure there's like very little companies on the planet which have a clean CRM system, right? That you can just go to CRM and export the
Sure.
data into Excel and click the sum, and you're like, oh, our deal pipeline is like $3 trillion because we didn't clean the CRM ever,
Close
right?
deals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but everyone knows how to navigate around their CRM. And then so Coupler also gives the ability to filter that data and look at the right part of the data. And when you set up the transformation within Coupler and your data is clean and something that you want to see, then you can share it to your team. And you can share a slice of data to the proper team members. You can create a dashboard on top of that. You can create visuals and understanding of the data. You can drill down into the data, and you can pull the data from other places, like for example, support, right? So you have, let's say,
Mhm.
a dashboard of big critical customers and their support activity, right? Just to take all your biggest customers, put the dashboard in front of you, pull the support activity from them and see how happy they are. How many support tickets are they creating? Is it going up or down with the line charts and stuff, right?
Sure.
What topics are they creating them from? We have a churn dashboard that pulls our users. It pulls their
Mm.
support activity. It pulls their reasons for their cancellation. And you can see a relevant data instead of like jumping into a trash bin and then try to find the proper thing and then do repeated
Sure.
actions. You create the files of your important data, you enrich them cross tools, and you see exactly what you need. And then you work on that, on those dashboards. You can add things to them, you can tweak them in a way that they are a perfect answer to your problem, to your understanding, to as a CEO or as the office manager. There's a different dashboards. That's why we have 600 of them.
So essentially, what you're also able to clients to do is not just export that data from HubSpot, but also join data from other sources to be able to give you a more accurate view of exactly what information is most relevant for you to either be looking at, observing, figuring out, solving with, and just a high degree of accuracy. So there's a lot of organizations out there and software companies who will pull data out of HubSpot, who will pull data out of different sources, who will try and give you a view and a dashboard of what that information looks like for you to be able to slice and dice. Where do you say you guys really differ from the competitors in this space?
Yeah, so our pipeline is very powerful. It gives you ability to. So first of all, it's best to start with a template, because if you start from a
Sure.
blank canvas, it's very hard to figure out what is it that you want to see. You need to talk to someone, and then you start delaying everything. If you start from a template, it's very powerful to just deliver you a certain set of data, right? And let's say if you take a simple use case of marketing persona, you want to take all your ads and put them into one dashboard and see how's your ad portfolio is working out for you. Is it good? Is it bad? What's the general performance of your ad portfolio, right? So you could pull them from multiple ad accounts and show them on the dashboard. So, but you use it there, you
Sorry as
customize.
well. Yeah, I guess it's very important to highlight here again that Yaroslav mentioned before that it takes time to fine tune the dashboard. So you put a lot of
Sure.
efforts to really represent what is needed, because it's very easy to fall into just a visual aspect of the dashboard. People used to like all those charts and pie charts and bar charts and many different tables, but then they scroll it and they actually do not understand what to do with this. So every dashboard must be organized in a way that you actually know what is your next step once you see certain data.
So being
So
actionable,
that is, being actionable. So
Yeah.
we help to actually build actionable analytics on top of those dashboards.
Gotcha. That's really fascinating. And some people may say, well, doesn't HubSpot have a lot of this reporting, dashboarding, analytics capabilities? And I know the answer is what you guys do is different. But can you describe like how you fill in the gaps in the HubSpot ecosystem? Why someone would say, hey, I need what you guys have plus HubSpot.
But you should have all the other services as well. So the average amount of SaaS services that companies use more than 100 products. And so all
170.
around data, 170. So the
Just
data,
a few.
yeah, just a few, and all this data all around, and you have this butterfly effect, right? That something happened in one application, like in one side of the business, and influenced the other part of the business. And how can you understand the trends? So sometimes it's just fake trends. The aspects that you see on the dashboards actually haven't led to the problem, but something else that happened in the other system. So like Yaroslav mentioned, different stories can happen with support, right? And when you match your customer profiles with the support cases they have, when you observe the spikes of the support cases, and then you see that you start to have more churns and all those different combinations of different services actually gives you much clearer answer what's going on in your business. So gives the clarity. And the answer is that possibility to merge all those different services into one dashboard and highlight only the most important aspects to the team and to the proper people in the team. Because
and
not everyone should
notice-
see all those dashboards. Like it's funny
Yeah.
to look around at the dashboard, but if you're not the person who should act upon that dashboard, then it's just this dashboard is useless.
Yeah, salaries
Understood.
are one of the most expensive expenses that the companies have, right?
Agreed.
So people time spent on going through the wrong data, or they're not even going through the data. They're just deciding on something, right? And even if you look at HubSpot itself has the data enrichment engine that enriches like, oh, this company is like this size and this company is that size. It's not working that well. It's generically better than not to have it. But often you have a channel specific information which holds a data about how big the company is. So if a big company is using your product, you want to have a Slack notification. You want to support them. You want to do something. You want to do important things to your business. And Coupler has its pipes exposed. They're not in the walls. They're not hard coded. You do not get what everyone gets. It just cannot work that there's a solution like, for example, HubSpot, which is specifically tailored for managing of the context and generic CRM management of context, right? It cannot be great at everything, and you need your own customization. Customization have to be done almost at the Excel level, and this is what we provide. We give you ability to tweak your data and to tweak the most important elements of your business that will go right into your face, and you'll have your answers, right? And then when you say, oh, maybe we're not doing this. For example, I was bugging Sergiy all the time, like, why don't we hire enough people? And our hiring rate is ridiculous. We hire 0.65% out of the external world.
Initial applicants.
Yes.
Initial applicants.
But we get 11,500 applicants for 18 months. And then I started talking with other business founders. So how do you guys handle them? How does that handle your pipeline? What do you look at? What tools do you use? And they're like, how many applicants do you have? Like 11,400. Like, how did you get them? I'm the one asking questions here. Tell me. And they're like, no, we get like 600 applicants and we're like a 500 people company, or we get 1,000 applicants. How do you get them? Show me how do you like, and then it turned, because we had our answers, right? If I would be asking abstract questions, like, how do you guys handle them? Why do you hire so many people? If we wouldn't discuss the exact numbers and the pipe itself and how does the transition look like, we would be talking about abstract things. And there would be no way to understand one each other and expose the proper elements of truth. This is what's happening in business on a daily basis, right? The people are just confused.
Yeah. So what it really need. So really with this tool, all of a sudden you're able to start taking, as you guys said earlier, actionable becomes actionable data. It's not just
Yes.
data for the sake of data, but you've joined it together with other sources. You've made it more accurate. You're able to have a certain degree of confidence in what you're sharing. So, what does the future of this product look like, and how does AI play a part in it?
Let me just add one more thing on top of
Sure.
those dashboards for HubSpot. So there is one important thing also. So not always you won't give a seat, like a purchase a seat for every team member in your company, but it doesn't mean that you do not want to show data to your team
Mm,
members. And this is something that is very powerful actually, and many customers of ours use it. Let's say you want to show the special segment of the data that do not break any privacy or something, and you can put it on the screen in your, I don't know, lobby, let's say, right? Or do this.
A simple use case.
Yeah, go
We
ahead.
have a team that sends gifts to some of our clients. And the team, if we would just give seats in all the HubSpots and tell them, go and figure it out, create filters or something like that, that would be very cumbersome. But as we are able to pull all the HubSpots, because every company, we have 3 products and 3 products use their own HubSpots. And then we slice the proper layer of data. And then we union it together using Coupler and just create like a gift list that works by itself and on itself, right? And then we give it to that team, and that team has this actionable data. It's just an example why we have 600 dashboards.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It seems really cool what you guys have built, the ability to, again, like I mentioned earlier, to have actionable data, accurate data as well on top of all of it. And then you have a mechanism to disseminate that data to your entire team, whether they're in HubSpot or not in HubSpot.
Yeah. Sure,
What,
a simple example,
what,
super fun use case. So if imagine you would be driving your car, you sit behind the wheel, and instead of seeing where you are, you see a map zoomed out at the top level, right? Which is the typical HubSpot dashboard with a list of tables. So go ahead, have fun driving your particular role, your particular direction through this generic set of tables. This is what's happening in a business in general.
correct. Yeah, and that's definitely a challenge for a lot of organizations. So, what does the future look like for you guys?
The future looks really great. So we want to give this driving tool to every role within the
Self-driving,
company.
self-driving tool.
Self-driving
This
tool.
is
Actually,
robot tool, let's say.
Maybe good or
It's
bad, but
a
it's full
robot, robot
self-driving.
charts, robot chart,
so
Robo charts. There you go. That's your new product.
yeah, robot
robot
charts. So
dashboard.
yeah, but the funny thing is that we had our payroll through, as there's 32 countries that our people are distributed across. Our payroll looks to look not simple. You could say that, right? And then it took us 15 days to finish it. 10 to 15 days to finish it. And our CFO was like dead every time after she was finishing it. And she was taking a week vacation. So technically we didn't have a CFO, just a payroll specialist. And we turned it through Coupler into a set of dashboards and set of activity tables that are monitoring everything that's happening within the payroll and saying, hey, this guy doesn't have a contract signed, and that guy didn't submit this ticket, and this guy didn't give us an invoice at the end. And this is what's happening. And it's giving you the dashboard of all the problems that you have. So you can go through them. And then when people activate them, we have a 15 minutes update. So you have a payroll specialist who's a set of dashboards that works for you and tells you the generic situations, what's happening, how this is red, this is yellow, this is green. And as you make it more proficient, as you configure it through Coupler proficiently, like every month, at some point you have a very sophisticated robo chart that works for you because it generally tells you what's happening. Because sometimes you need to keep an eye on stuff. So we have a dashboard of the state of, let's say, an office, right? That the office is doing well, or the state of procurement. Are we like buying things on time? Like what's happening? Why? And then you have dashboards on the state of the state, that the offices are generally yellow or green or so. And then the future of that is that you have all your data combined using templated approaches in a smart manner, combining the tools that you're combining or combining your custom tool, because a Coupler gives you ability to combine custom source into a template because you have to transform it.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
And AI,
Well,
of
guys, I
course,
wanna
is there
switch
as
it-
well. So I mean, like it's impossible to ignore AI right now, and definitely there is a
He'll play a nice
place
role,
in
but
our
that's going to be
roadmap.
a nice stealth release that we're working on.
Sales release. Yeah,
Nice. I like that. So you guys have built a really successful business. What advice do you have for other people building a business, entrepreneurs, business leaders, could be sales leaders? Any advice you'd like to share and pass along?
Drive your business with data. It's important. Like really, what we see around this very popular statement that, hey, we love data-driven decisions and so on. But in fact, majority of the businesses from small to big are completely blind about what's going on in
Mhm.
their P&L, in
Under the
their
nose, yeah.
pipelines. So yeah, they're completely blind. And there are a lot of mistakes are done, just like wrong decisions are made just because kind of wrong data was in the wrong hands. So run your data correctly.
100%. 100%. I think every organization out there can take that advice and honestly bank it because it will yield a lot of return. And hence why you guys created the product that you created was because obviously without accurate data or human error, that can be very costly. And also, it means that you don't get to identify the patterns or trends that are actually driving your organization. And how do you scale efficiently and how do you scale profitably? And also, what do your customers want? That's excellent. Anything else you guys want to add to that?
We're like a very conscience driven organization and culture driven, conscience driven, mission driven. So we're not the best organization to ask for simple outcomes and simple returns. We're oh, like, we create a lot of sciences around our approaches and principles, and then
Mm.
we deepen them, right? For example, this applicants pipeline, the HR pipeline that we're talking about, processing 11,000 people just to hire 100 of them is pretty ridiculous for a lot of the businesses.
I would
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. But at the same time, when we see we hire our rate of people that stay in the company and are successful in the company is very high. So we definitely urge people to understand their business and to work through every role within the company. For the managers of the company to work through every role of the company, to have conscious understanding of what's happening within their particular space of the company. How do their people work that they manage? How does it feel when you do this work? And what is the adequate speed for that work? And that will drive a better recruiting approaches. It'll also drive a better approaches to run the company and to keep your people happy.
Uh, Excellent. Excellent advice, by the way. Having your people understand the different roles in the organization, work those roles. Imagine you're working in a kitchen, you're doing all washing the dishes,
Yep.
making the food, sous chef, main chef, like all of the above. That's fantastic. Yaroslav, Sergey, this was absolutely fantastic. Thanks for coming on the show and really sharing more about this application you built and what it can do for organizations. If they're interested in learning more about the two of you, how do they find out information about you? How do they connect with you guys? How do they find out more information about Coupler?
Railsware.com, Coupler.io, and our LinkedIn's. I don't know, do you have some comments? Will you have some comments under? No.
Yeah, we'll be sure to get it out there. We'll be linking you guys as part of the show out there as well. So we'll be having you on. And guys, again, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. It was excellent to hear about the product. If listeners, you need analytics, you want to slice and dice it, you have it from multiple different sources, check out Coupler. Great product to be able to use, to be able to bring data into, whether it's a spreadsheet or someplace else that you're leveraging this data in a big way. Check out their product and what it can do for you. And that wraps it up today for our show. Again, Up Your Stack is that weekly podcast where we feature app partners who've either built their apps on HubSpot or integrated with HubSpot, help you get the most out of your HubSpot tech stack. Again, thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed listening.